Now let's have a quick review of this Sumx function. So what is Sumx function basically? Generally, Sumx function you use when you want to do a summation of any column but based on some condition, right? And it's same as like you use the SUMIF, right? So in SUMIF, what kind of calculation you can do? For example, SUMIF, like you want to do a sum of all those of that amount column where order date or any specific date is, let's say in 2020 or any specific year. So what you are doing here, you are doing summation based on some conditions, right? So this is the key functionality of SUMIF. Same thing, if you want to achieve in DAX, then you have to use SUMX function, right? So SUMX function basically are the iterator functions, right? Means it iterates row by row, while sum function does not iterate row by row. It just look for all the values in your column, right? And it just do a quick summation, just quick aggregation, regardless to the iteration of each row, right? But when you write a condition with sum, it means that condition has to be like executed for each row, right? Then you use the SUMX function, right? Because SUMX function iterates row by row. First, that condition will be executed for first row, then the output of first row will be summed up into the second row after the execution of the condition, and in the same way it will going to the all row one by one, right? So now SUMX function, all right, so let's say SUMX function we can create here. For example, oh, I think I changed the report. Okay, so now SUMX function you want to create, right? So the basic example here, you have the unit price and quantity, right? So what you want to create a sales column here, right? You want to see the total sales, while total sales you don't have in your data model. So what you can do, you can create, if you don't use the SUMX function, then how you can achieve it? First, you have to create a column here in your this table by just multiplying the values of these two columns. You will be having that column here, right? It means you will have the sales. Then you can use the normal sum function. But if you don't want to create that column, without creating that column, you want to achieve the results, then you can use the SUMX function. Then what will happen? It will execute this condition, it will execute this expression, then it will sum up the result of this with next result, right? So in the same way, it will go one by one. So let's quickly see it here. The one way is you are having, let me just show it to you. So one way is you can create a column, right? This is your sales column, and here what you can do, you can just write this unit price into quantity. Now what happens, you got a new column, okay, and for each column you are having for each row you are having the values. Now you can use normal sum function, which will like do a summation of this sales column, okay, and then you can use that for visualization purpose. But if you don't want to use it, if you don't want to create this column, then what you can do, just delete it. You can create a measure. Here you can use SUMX function. So just read the description of the SUMX function. Returns the sum of an expression evaluated for each row in a table. Focus on this word here, evaluated for each row. It means it will be evaluated for each row. SUMX. Then here you see table and expression. So what does it mean? Inside the SUMX function, you have to pass two parameters. One parameter should be a table, and the second be expression. In the second parameter, which is expression, you can write a direct expression also, or you can use another function also. Maybe if you can use a filter function, okay. So here you want to use a table, so pass a table here, like in you want to execute it, into the order details. Why? Because columns are into this table, right? Then add comma, here you have to write expression, right? And what expression is? Same one, unit price into the quantity. Now here you got this sales measure. Now if I visualize it, because measure value you can see only by visualizing. So let's display this data. Add order date and sales measure. right? So year wise, you can see the sales amount here. Right? So what you did here, without creating a column, you used Sumx function, which evaluated this expression, right? Which evaluated this expression for your each row in the table. Now, if I just try, just for testing purpose, if I just copy this simple calculation and just try to put it in a measure, and let's see what happens. New measure. Let's see, this is my test measure. And I want to directly do a unit price and quantity. First of all, it will give you a red line here, means there is an error, right? But still, if you just press enter, then let's see what error it is giving to you. You can read this error. A single value for column unit price in table this cannot be determined. This can happen when a measure formula refers to a column that contains many values without specifying an aggregation function, right? So just focus on this word here, without specifying an aggregation, means measures require at least one aggregation function, such as min, max, count, sum, any of them. Only then you will get the result, otherwise no. So now here what is happening, there is not any aggregation function, right? And even if you try to write some function, right, you will see like some function accept only one parameter. And here what you are trying to pass two parameters, like two columns, like one is unit price and the second is quantity. So some function accepts only one column as a reference, right? If you see the definition of sum, column name, right? So it means only one column name. Okay, so you saw the difference. Okay, I see one question. Can you do a percentage calculation for same? Yes. So for example, do you mean like you want to show sales amount percentage instead of amount, right? Okay, so then you don't need to do anything, right? There is a functionality in Power BI that will automatically gives you the flexibility to show the value or the percentage. All right. So how you can show this is, right now if you see, this is showing you the value. Right now, instead of showing the sales value percentage, right, which year was having like the most sale based on the percentage, the value measure which you have added here, right, can change to the percentage. How? Just go here. Definitely you can write an expression also. You can write another DAX expression also for displaying your measures value into the percentage. Why to write other unnecessary measures, right? Because the same functionality if you have built in from the product, and just right click, and right now if you see show values as, so these values are showing here right now. No calculation means the default value, whatever the output of the measure is appearing onto the visual. But if you want to show if you want to convert this total value as percentage, right, then you can choose it percent of grand total. And then when you go on the, you can see our total percent, right, of your 3-year sales. In 1996, the sales percentage was 16.7. In 1997, it was 48%. It was 34%. Right. So what happened? It just converted the percentage without writing any expression or anything. Right. Now, here if you see, this is 226. Right. This is amount and this is percentage. If you want, you can add the value here also. Based on the filter, it will be changing for you. So here add the sales measure, percentage. Definitely by default it will be 100% because we haven't applied any filter on it. Right. So now let's say if I add one filter here, I want to see the contribution of different country, right? So I add the country here also. Now if you select Argentina, then you can see the contribution. It should change, just a second. Okay, so it won't change because on the table level also the data has been filtered, right? Here again 100 getting the data for Argentina only, right? So that's why it is showing the data for 100%. So then what you have to create two separate measures. For example, if you want to see the contribution of, like, let's based on your different dimension, let's say what is the contribution of Argentina, right? Amount wise, you can see here 8.12k, right, is the contribution from Argentina. But how much percentage it is out of your total, right? So that if you want, then for that you have to create a separate measure first using the all function. Okay, so I question was here on percentage calculation instead of DAX. We changed it to percentage that he's asked. Okay. Yes, that percentage you can display, you can calculate through the DAX also. Okay, I'll show you this. I want to create a percentage or the contribution of the sales amount in percentage based on the selection of the countries, right? Okay, so how we can get this calculation, how we can create it? First, we need, for example, if the total sales is 100, right? For any country, let's say it's 10, then it should be the 10 percentage, right? For example, for India, right? Its sales amount 10, right? And the total is 100, right? There are some other countries also. So including all those countries, the total is becoming 100, right? Then what we have to do, we have to just calculate it something like this. 10 divided by 100, right? And this is this, the data type we have to change it, right? Instead of it general, we have to change it to percentage, right? So this is the way like how we calculate it. Now the same we can replicate into the Power BI. So the very first thing what we have to do here, we have to create expression. We have to create expression or a measure which should have the total amount of your sales regardless to filter, because apply the filter will change, right? So this should be remain unchanged in any scenario, whether you select any table, you filter the data, whatever you do, but this value should not be changed, right? So what you have to do then, you have to use all function, right? So expression, you need to understand first all function, what is all. So this is my all sales means value of this sale not be filtered, right? Whatever I'll do, if I apply any filter, then the measure value will not change. So how we can do it? So we want to evaluate the expression, right? So always remember, if I have an expression, right? So if you see here that I'm having an expression value which is sales measure, right? So this sales measure value I want to evaluate. So I use a calculate, because calculate helps you to evaluate any expression. So here, if you want, you can write the complete expression once again, like Sumx and everything. But if you have already written it, then you can reuse your measure. So there, I use this sales measure here, right? Then what you do, you have to add a filter here. In filter, you can use all. All function also works like a filter, right? Basically, it just returns all the rows from a table by just skipping or avoiding any filter applied to the table or any specific column, right? So I want to apply it onto order details table. Press enter. Now let's just try to put it here and let's see whether the values are static or changing. So add a card. Right, it's 1.35 million. This is all and this is without all, right? So now let's apply a filter here. When I select country, you see that the all is not changing, while the sales measure, this measure has been changed the value, right? Based on the values. Okay, but this will be static now. Why? Because what we did in this, let's understand it first. So the complete, all the things just of this all function. So what does it mean? Basically, all function creates a temporary table in Power BI, right? It just create a temporary table in Power BI data model. And when you apply the filter, okay, so what happens when you apply the filter? Actually, you feel that you are applying the filter on country, and because of the relationship, it's filtering the data in order details. But what is happening behind the scenes when you use all function in temporary memory somewhere in Power BI data model, it just keep that same data model, the duplicate of this order details, we can say, right? Whenever you filter the data here, it just filter the data of order details only, not of order details. Got my point? So you see the data is not changing, right, while you apply the filter, but actually what is happening when you are applying the filter, data is filtering in order details, not in temp of order details. You will never know that what's the temporary table name, where it is, right? You will never know. It's Power BI internal functionality. So behind this is a way like how does it work. So what happens when you use all function, it just quickly create a duplicate table of this, and the entire calculation is coming from here, from that temporary table. So that's why this all function, just a second. So when you use this all function, it now the data is coming from a temporary of order details. So when you are applying the filters, it is changing the data in this table, but not in this table. So that's why it remain static. So anyways, we don't need to understand this functionality. Just purpose, I'm just telling you like why it is. So whenever you will read blogs or whenever you will read the functionality of all function or the definition, then it says it just ignore the filters, right? So how it ignores the function? So basically it ignore function just because it create a duplicate table, and when you apply the, you feel that you're applying the filter on its main table, but not actually. The all data is coming from a temporary table. It's having a replica of that, a copy of that same table. Okay, but that we don't need to understand. It's fine. We can say in simple words, we can say all functions just ignore all the filters which are applied onto the defined tables here, right? This table you can define here, or any particular column also you can define, right? So now what will happen? Whenever any filter will be defined, when we applied directly or indirect filter on the order details, that will be ignored. Is ignored, then it means the value of sales measure will be static. It will not change, right? So this is the functionality of all. So we got it. Now it means the value of this all function is not changing. What we have now, we have this, right, which will be always same, which will not be changed based on the filters. Next is this 10 value, means whenever you select India in your filter, this 10 divided should be divided by this 100. So it means here I have be changed based on the selection. So now this should be divided by this. It means sales measure divided by all sales. So need to create another measure. And this is sales percentage, right? So what you have to do here, sales measure, the value of this measure will change based on the filters, divide by all sales. This measure value will not change, right? Now display the value here, sales percentage, right? So right now it's showing 1%. So let me just validate whether the data type of this percentage or not. So this measure, go here and percentage. So why it is showing me 100%? Because I didn't selected any value in the filter. So when I select Argentina, now it will give you the result, right? So for this country, for Austria, 10.30% sales is from total sales. Yes, you were right. It's total by divided by all total, right? So basically here what we covered divide and all function, right? All function is very important. Most of the time you will be using this function, and it's already, I think, here in our list. Yes, all except is just vice versa of all function. Means all function is ignoring the function filters from your table or columns. But if you want something like except any specific column, right, the filter should be ignored. Then you can use all except, right? It's just opposite of the all function. That's it. We can use sumx also instead of calculate with all function. Yeah, no, but see, if you will not use the all function, then the value of your measure will not be static. It will be keep changing based on your filters, right? Hence, you won't get the percentage values. So for percentage value, you will have to use the all, because only all will give you the total sales, which will remain unchanged. Yes, sumx with all. Yeah, that is fine. See, basically what is happening, all what I did, I just used the sum sales measure, right? Why? Because the sales measure calculation I'm already having. So if you don't want to use, you can just copy this calculation and go and repeat, because this is the same thing. Instead of using that measure, you can use the calculation also, the complete. But this is the benefit of creating the measures, because if you have already the measure, then instead of writing the calculation again, use the same measure. Because in case if you want to change anything in your measure, then you will just change it here in your measure and it will be changed everywhere, right? Because you change it into its source measure. Now the next question, can we calculate percentage? For example, in a column we have two text, within SLA 50 cells and outside SLA 20 cells. Yes, then create two measures. First measure will be having the value with filter, with SLA, which will having the 50 cells, and the second measure will be having the all the values, right, which is for outside SLA. Right now you have these two, and based on your like the calculation, you can just divide the first measure by second measure. So basically here also I can tell you how you can see. The main thing is you need two measures within SLA, and this what was the second? Within and outside. Okay, so you need to create two measure, count of within SLA, right, and count of without SLA. Then so this is your, let's say, M1 measure 1, this is your measure 2, then you can create a measure 3, right? And here what you can do, you can just write M1 divided by M2 or M2 divided by M1, whatever suits to your calculation. Okay, now the point is how you will get it, right? Because based on the filter you need the count. So what you can do for it, let's say just similar to this calculation, we can take example from this data. Within SLA you said, and without SLA. Okay, so in this table, let's say so here I have two things. One is with region and the second is without region, right? Because somewhere I have the blank value, blank region, and somewhere I have the region. So what I have to do first, let's create two measures first, right? One should have the count of customer IDs where the region is blank, and second measure, count of customer IDs where the region is not blank. Got it? And then divide these two measures. Got it? So in the same way, you can create first measure where the SLA status of or whatever is SLA within SLA, and second is without SLA. So here how to count it based on the filter. Okay. Yeah, I'm just showing it to you. What we need to do first, we need to calculate measure, right? So just creating a measure here. And this time what I want to count. Count of blank region. Now here, what you have to do, you have to use COUNTIF, right? Where the like the region is blank and you want to count that. So here instead of COUNTIF, you have to use COUNTEX. Now here you have to use the function, right? Here is your table, right? In this table, you can pass your, okay, or you can do one thing. No need to go on to the iteration. Just try, let me try to get it through the, okay, so what, which I want to calculate, I want to calc of my customer ID. And now I can add a filter. So I want to filter out this calculation where the region. So just search here, customer table, and your region is equal to, you can write, or there is a function which is blank, right? You can use is blank region. That's it. Close all your brackets, press enter, and let's validate it. Just test the data of this measure, whether it is giving us correct result or not. So here I create a new page. Put the value of this count of blank region. So it is telling me that there are 60 customers where the region, let me just cross check it. So put a filter on region blank and count the values. So if I select the customer ID column, here I see 60 filtered distinct count values. Okay. All right. So which means it is correct. Now let's create another measure. Right. So just copying it, just to quickly create it, copy and paste it, and then make the change. Count of not non-blank, or you can say. Then rest of the calculation will be same, like calculate count of this filter customers table where is not blank, right? So now you have two options. Either you can just write, right? Now inside the not, what you want is blank and your region. So what happened here basically, let me just create first and I'll explain. This 31. So how many records we have? Total we have 91. 60 is like with blanks. Okay, so it means 31 is with non-blank. Okay, fine. So now what happened with this? We used is blank, right? So what it is doing is blank is just filtering the data where region is blank. But if I use not operator before it, then it means it will just count all those record where it is not blank, where the region is not blank. You don't need to write your condition like this where is equal to it is blank or something like that, because there is a built-in function is blank which just evaluate with just filter out directly on your blank rows. Okay, so now you have these two measures. Now what you can do, you can divide it. You can just write percent of something and then you can divide your measures. One is count of blank region divided by count of. Okay, so now you can consider like first this is your count of record total sales where the SLA ID is within SLA, and this is you are just dividing them. So is it right? So you got that, how you can get this result? Got it? All right. And whenever you will apply the filter in your visuals, right, in your table, so the what will happen, the data of your table will be changed. If you want some data should not change by applying the filter on the table, then don't forget to use the all function. So now the basic thing is like clear with these things, right? Like I created these measures. So is any doubt or is there anybody who has a question, something like why we are creating the measures for these, why we are not in the columns? So it's just once you'll start practicing, automatically it comes to your mind like what you have to do it, what you have to create for it, because all these are just calculations. We don't want to display this data here into the table. So we are creating the measures, we are creating the calculations. So now let me just show. So still we have a lot of functions. So we just see sum and also not function is blank function. So there are still a lot of functions, but I don't see any function is like difficult to use. All are like simple. So now what is rank X basically? Let's have a scenario. You want to get rank based on like amount of based on the amount of sales quantity. You want to give a products to your customers, to your vendors, to your employees. So what you want basically, for that you need a fact first, right? Why fact value? Because fact value you will do some aggregation. Based on that aggregation, then you will arrange all those aggregated data into a indexing column, right? Means here let's say I have one product P1, P2 and P4 and P5, right? So definitely if I'm having the transactional data, then I will be having records for each product, right? So first what I have to do, I have to aggregated table, right? This is the one way, but if you want without creating aggregated, then how you can get it? Okay, first you have to do a aggregation, right? This aggregation, then the second thing is you have to arrange them into the ranks, right? So for example, the rank for the total is this. Yeah, this is for rank. So now if you want to give a rank products based on the, this is let's say sales, okay, this is product. Now here you want to define a rank, and based on the ranks you would like to display this data. You would like to like display the ranks, or like what was the rank of this product in last month, and now what is the rank of this product in the current month, how much, like what's the jump between these. Such kind of visualization you can do using the rank. So here what should be the rank? Basically this product P5 should be the first rank, this one should be the second rank, this one should be the third rank, right? And there is a catch. Let's say if this is 33, then yes, obviously it will be rank 4 and this will be rank 5, right? But if there is same value, right, let's say it is also 32, right, then what will happen, there is a tie between P1 and P4 because sales is same. Then what will happen, then you have the flexibility whether based on first come first serve funda. What you can do, you can align the values. Let's say this is fourth and this is fifth, but if you want you can make them same, right? Generally we do like this. If their rank, if the value is same, then assign the same rank to them. Then when the next rank will be started, for example there is another product which is P6 and its rank is, let's say its sales is, let's say 22, then what will happen with it? Should it give 5 or 6, right? then again you have the flexibility, right? You have some parameters which you can manage, right? You want to give the 5, then there is a parameter, right? You can choose that, then it will give you the 5 rank. Otherwise it will give you the 6 rank. Why? Because if there are two products are having the same rank, right, then it can skip the 1. Means 5th will be skipped and output for this product will be 6. And let's say if this is also having the same value like 30 also 4, and if there is one more product, let's say P7 and it's 23, then what is the rank for it? Then you have the option whether you can display the rank 5 or 7, right? You want. Okay, why 7? Because 2 ranks will be skipped because 2 extra products which are having the same rank, right? What I'm trying to say. So there are like ways by default, like if there are like same rank, if like products are not having the same values, then there is not. But in case if you have the same values, then you have to decide that which rank should be displayed for them, whether the same rank, different rank, and for the next product, what should be that? It should be the just next rank, or you want to give a gap based on like how many same numbers or how many same values you are having. Now let's try to see it here, how we can get it. Okay, so here I have this products table, right? So first of all, what I need a table, right, where I should have the data in aggregated format. So what I have to do, I have to create a first aggregated table. So using the query editor, quickly we can create it. I'm going to get it from query editor using the group by function. You can achieve it through the summarize function also. All right, so here what I'm going to on details table, create a duplicate of this one. See, most of the things, if you don't feel much comfortable yourself in DAX, then most of the things you can easily achieve through the query editor only. But you should understand like how does all the functionalities are there. So if you don't want to use the summarize function, then easily you can get it through the group by built-in functionality from query editor. So this is my, let's say, product. So now here I'm just going to remove this unnecessary columns from here. Right, I have the product ID, unit price, and quantity. From here also, what I want to just have a one column only. So I create a custom column. Change the data type. Right, now I can delete these two. Now I can do a group by. So select this column, group by, amount, and here I want to do the sum of sales column. Here you go. You have the product ID and the sales amount, which is aggregated data. If you want, you can pull the custom also here from the using the merge query functionality, right? So let's do that also. Merge query. Product name. Let's move it to the first column. Right, product ID, product name, and aggregated sales amount, right? Now what you can do, just close and apply. Okay, it's loading. Okay, so here we have this table, right? Now what we can do, just go to this table, product sales. So now just try to create a column here. And why I'm creating a column here? Because that data I want to see here into the table. So this now based on their sales, I want to create a product rank. Product rank. And Now for this, I am going to use rank X function, right? So this rank X function basically returns, evaluate the current expression, right? And then you have some parameters here, right? So we need to understand these 5 parameters, right? One is table, expression, values, order, and ties, right? So there are some like optional parameters, which is like this tie is an optional parameter, order is also optional parameter, right? So these last two, if you see, these two are the optional parameters. If you want, you can skip them. So first is we provide a table, like on which table you want to calculate this ranking. So you can pass a table name, which is your product sales. And the best practice says that you have to use, if you are using the product sales here, then what will happen if some filter in this product sales in any column, then it changed, and based on that filter, ranking will also change. So as a best practice, you have to use all, right? It means all of product sales. Now what will happen if in future, if you apply any filter on this table, then that will be skipped, that will be ignored. Okay, and your ranking will not be disturbed. Got it? Why we are using the all? It's just best practice. Otherwise, you will face some difficulty, some challenges, and then you have to come again and change it to all. So it's better that make it all. Then what you have to do in the second parameter, you have to write your expression. So which expression should be here? Based on which? Based on the column of sales amount, right? So already I'm having it. So I can write just expression here, sum of sales amount. Close your bracket, which you have written here. Now in the write the value, right? Or I think this value not a mandatory column, right? Yeah, this is also optional, so you can skip this. We come to this is these optional parameters also, that what is the requirement of having these optionals. Okay, so now just press enter and let's see that what we are getting here. Okay, so it's I think giving us the rank all. Okay, same rank, which is wrong. Just check once again. I think this rank is already doing a grouping. Let me just cross check it into the order details table. Test rank X, which is all of your order details, right? And the sum of, you can write the Sumx here. Sumx from the again order details. I'm just trying to validate it. What's wrong with it? Okay, then here, add your expression, which can be your all right. So it seems there is something which I'm missing here. Okay, I see some suggestion. I believe it's due to all function reflects one. No, even if I have already removed the all, even it's showing me the one, which is wrong. It should not show the rank one for all. Okay, anyways, this one I'll have to cross check once again. Maybe there is some issue, something which I'm missing. Okay, if I try to enter the third parameter also, which is, let's say, the value. Value is not required here because it's this value is just like how you want to display your rank, whether from 0 to 1. Okay, so basically this 0 means like you want to start the ranking, like in which order, like descending or like ascending, like lower to higher or higher to lower. Should not be the issue. Default is 0. So it is from the highest rank is 2156, which is again showing the all. Same, if I make it 1, then again it will show 1 in all. Okay, this is something wrong because only one rank it is showing. Okay, so don't worry, I'll have to cross check it once again at what we are missing here. All right, so I'll check it once again. Let me make it here. But this is a very important function actually. All right, so using this user relationship, okay, so this one we will continue in the next session. One more question here, so let me just get it here into the build a correlation between data points. Should I use the DAX method or I can build through charts? See, you can build through DAX also, but like again depends on like what kind of correlation you want to set between your data. If it is like very simple, where like straightforward, then yes, with DAX you will feel like you did it, okay, but it's sometimes like if something got wrong or somewhere you stuck, then yes, again it will be a time taking activity for you when you want to do a complex correlation. You want to do a complex correlation, so it's better that if you can just go and if you have to look, because from directly from the visualization from the charts you can't achieve everything. It's vice versa actually, right? From the DAX also you can't achieve everything, and from charts also you can't achieve everything, so you have to evaluate like where your requirement fits in. Okay, so that's all from my side.